So thank you, jury, for considering this project in the Sustainability Award, and hopefully you can see my screen. Let me just get the right. Thank you. Let me just get the right presentation up. So this project is works at Lilydale Heights College. Stage 1 works. We did the master plan for this site several years ago, 2017-18. And the school has a strong focus on sustainability as its emerging identity. And so we were keen to take that on board. And I'm going to present mainly this building today, which is the Sustainability Hub. It's a building for teaching sustainability, and it is an adaptive reuse project. And that's sort of one side of the building, and it's a former boiler house and amenities block. But just a bit of context to start with. It's a former tech school. The school's been recycled at least once and it became a high school. It sits in suburban Lilydale and sort of quite an authored arrangement of tech school buildings. And our work was focused, that's as it was, and this is after our works, we put it a new sports pavilion down here, which I won't really talk about today, talk more about the centre of the site, which was the reuse of this boiler house, and a new landscape area called the Town Square, which I'll touch on very briefly. I think it's worth noting that through this system of covered walkways, this boiler house is really the centre of the school's servicing strategy. It's a school-wide heating system that was located inside this building and still is. We've put that on the roof of the building along with power photovoltaic panels. You can see those there, and there's a whole lot of new mech. So really we took a whole lot of stuff out of the building, opening it up for teaching as an adaptive reuse, and put its original function effectively has been maintained and added to. As with any reuse project, we looked carefully at the original structure and building, and we had to argue very strongly for reuse rather than demolition, which was the VSBA's initial position, our ultimate client. They had a threshold of 80% cost. If it's over 80% of the cost, you had to do a new build. This was 100% of the cost of a new build. And we argued, and we hopefully changed a policy that encourages reuse. We built that on the school's agenda around sustainability. This building has had several lives. This is works done in 1922. It was originally built in 1970. And then these are our drawings here. So this is how we found it. A boiler room with what used to be oil furnaces that had then became gas furnaces. We sort of gutted parts of the building to create a donut of space that you could use and divide into a series of teaching spaces into 5 spaces, or it can be used one or any combination thereof. So these are some of the interiors. So you get a sense of this kind of nucleus in the middle here, which has become a wet lab, and then this kind of workshopy type lab space, hybrid lab teaching space that wraps around. This is with it opened up. The building's quite didactic from a servicing point of view, not surprising in a way, exposed servicing. It's naturally ventilated to the extent possible, fans, lots of openable windows. Apologies. Oh, my screen's gone crazy. There we go. And then these are some of the images of the interiors here of the building in use. And you can see the aspect out to the courtyard out there. And this is the central lab building that also the central lab room, which has some borrowed light and view through it from the centre of the plan. So coming back to the outside, there was a sort of original veranda that was retained. The chimney was structurally stabilised and retained. This is no longer working as a chimney. It used to provide air extraction for the main boiler room. So it's now there. It's not, we weren't able to get it reusing as a thermal chimney, but it's allowed, we've got future proofing to allow for its use in that regard. But it's really a kind of icon of the building and part of the sort of, it's actually the tallest structure on the site. So it actually becomes the heart of the school site. And so now this building has become really central to the school's messaging around sustainability and its learning offer. This is that sort of back end of the building. So all the new plant is highly compressed, the school-wide heating system effectively within this mesh enclosure on the top here. And it sits in relation to this wider landscape outdoor learning area, the town square. We added additional shading onto the highlight windows that were retained. We created a whole series of new openings, used existing openings. So you've got 2 languages of openings to get more light and ventilation opportunities into the interior. I might leave it there actually. We also did this building here, but that's really not the focus of the sustainability presentation. This is a new building, but I'll keep it at this. So happy to take questions.